Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising. Elemental Uprising is brought to you by Lucky Duck Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and games range anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes. Welcome back, heroes. So you successfully defeated the Time Mage and saved the kingdom by closing the rifts in time. Yay! Well, almost yay. So it turns out that the disturbances to the timeline have upset the natural order of things, and the elemental gods are not happy. Volcanoes are erupting, the earth is cracking, and barbaric monsters flood from the jungles and are moving towards the kingdom. Now is the time to call upon new heroes, modify your defenses, and brace yourself for the Elemental Uprising. So, Elemental Uprising is a fully cooperative and standalone version of the popular Kingdom Rush series of board games, which offer the ultimate tower defense experience for the tabletop. Players take on the roles of asymmetrical heroes defending their kingdom against waves of incoming monster hordes. Players will play towers to attack hordes using polyomino tiles to cover monsters until all monsters in a horde are covered, destroying it. Players will earn crystals and gold, which can be spent on buying new towers or tower modifications to improve and customize their existing towers. Monsters come with a range of special abilities that players will have to plan around by passing towers between each other and positioning attacks to get around magical shields and monster powers. The heroes will also be confronted with game-changing events and elemental disruptions. The game is scenario-based and can be played individual, replayable scenarios, or as a steadily evolving campaign leading up to a big boss fight, hero challenges, and much more. So a couple notes on this video. First off, we're using all upgraded components, tokens, figures, and the 3D towers. You don't need those for this standalone version, but they do look amazing, so I'm definitely showing them here. And also, this video is going to focus on what's new in the standalone version of Kingdom Rush. Now, if you played Rift in Time, all of this will seem very familiar to you, but there's some nice new changes to this version of the game. And much like the other heroes in the game, you're going to have the same procedure that you're doing on your turns, and you are working together to defeat these hordes. So, just like the previous version of the game, you will be playing cards on top of your towers in order to inflict damage and destroy the incoming hordes as they move through this valley ever closer to your kingdom. And we are set up here for the very first scenario, but I'm not going to spoil what's in these cards, but I wanted to give you a look at what this new scenario looks like. There's some environmental things too that we're going to take a look at. But the one side of the board, you'll see that the monster is going to be moving in, or the horde is going to be moving in from the jungle side, and there's all kinds of events and things that can happen here. They're cards and scenario specific, and again, I don't want to ruin those for you, but this is kind of just a general look of what that's going to be like. Now, again, in the previous version of the game, you had crystals, and this was your main currency for upgrading your cards to do bigger and better things. Well, now there's gold in the game. Gold will allow you to get stickers that attach to your different cards in order to upgrade them and give them more special abilities. So there are 4 different types of augments for these tower cards. And again, these are stickers that you're going to be placing and putting onto the cards, but not all the cards can be upgraded, like the level 4s have an icon showing you that you can't upgrade this card. But in general though, you can add things like physical damage. You can add soldiers to the card. You can change the card's damage type to true damage, and you can even add perfect range to that tower defense card. So lots of options with these stickers. Again, you're using gold to buy those and add them to the cards. You'll collectively be doing this because the pool of money or pool of resources is collective to the table. So there are some different choices to be made though, because as you defeat the different hordes as they come through, well, some cards are going to give you crystals, some will give you gold, but others force you to make a choice between the crystals or gold. Now, there's also new tower mechanics to go along with all this. So you've got splash damage, which basically allows you to cause damage to adjacent horde groups. Now, you've also got blast, which is super powerful because it's dropping damage on every horde within range. And then you have far shot. This gives the player a choice to either attack normally, doing the full damage, or reducing the size of the damage by 1 to give the attack perfect range. So basically hitting anything on the board. And then you have time-lapse damage. This is primarily for level 4 tower, the High Elven Mage attack, and it targeting a horde or enemy boss with special abilities. This will stop things like heal, deadeye, and speed, but does not work against tough enemies. So there's a couple new things with monsters as well. You've got shamans, which can protect a whole horde group from either magical or physical damage, and there's barriers on the card that it shows. So you have to work around those in order to do the damage. And then there's tough enemies, and they have an outline around them as well. They're usually bigger, but you can only ever do 1 point of damage, basically 1 square of damage to that enemy at any one time. Now there's 2 new environmental effects. You've got magic blossoms and you've got lava pools. Now magic blossoms are a flower, as you'd expect, and you move on to them, and once you do, then you can flip it over and activate it. It's going to basically fire darts or arrows at the horde, and you can pick 2 different hordes to hit. And you'll just do 1 point of damage, but it is a nice effective way to add a little bit more damage as you move through this world. Now, lava pools are basically going to give you crystals. Once you move on to it, you'll gather one of the crystals and add it to your party's pool, allowing you later in the game to upgrade your different tower cards. So in the full game, there'll be 5 new heroes to choose from, all with very special abilities, and they all have a unique special kind of passive ability. And in this prototype, I only received 2 of these new heroes. We've got Bruxa and Ulrich. Now, Bruxa has this ability that when one of the hordes are completely destroyed in front of one of her towers, then she gets to put a skull on her track. And she's powering it up, so she can basically do extra damage based on the number of skulls here. And once it's maxed out, then you remove 3 to do her max amount of damage. And then for Ulrich, he gets sand warriors. He gets basically summon these guys from the sand as he moves around. And they can do different things like activate the flowers, pick up the crystals of the environment and so forth. But they also, if you're on a spot with them, with your hero, they can act as protection as well. They can't protect themselves so much. They only have 1 health. But they are pretty effective in creating this summoning team that Ulrich can use. So those are the basics of what's new. Now the core gameplay is still here from the original Kingdom Rush with just some tweaks. Now the campaign is a 12 scenario campaign with lots of twists and turns, lots of interesting things. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil what some of those cards look like for you until you can jump in and experience it for yourself. But, along with that, the nice thing is that you can take elements from the original game, like the different heroes, and combine them with this new one. So you have lots of expandability here, and as you can see, the upgraded components still work for this version of the game. Lots of neat things there, and not only that, there will be giant bosses, which I didn't get to experience in this prototype, but things like the Leviathan. So I'm really looking forward to trying that. And this is truly a tower defense experience. And if you haven't tried the original game, I definitely encourage you to check it out. But there's lots to like in this new version. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, if you like tower defense games, this is one of the very best experiences for the tabletop. And the enhancements they made from this version, from the Rift of Time to now, is just really well done. They're really working on expanding the game, adding more content and more flavor and more neat new things to it. I really liked how the new heroes work, one of my favorite bits, and I can't wait, again, to play with and try out defeating those big bosses. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.